See if this thing will stay in focus. So, Quarter Resilient here. I just had a thought, and I was thinking, truly, honestly, deeply, deeply, think about this for a second. Why do we go to work? Why do we work? Of course, you're going to think, well, to pay rent, bills, pay for food, clothing, to take care of my kids, take care of myself. Okay. Is that because we live in a material world where it's designed that we have to rely on work in order to do those things? I just had an epiphany. And I just realized that that entire thing is an illusion. The only reason that we have to go to work to gain material objects, material things, believe it or not, think of it like this. We need money for all of these things, and we don't need any of these things. The majority of them. The only things that we need are shelter, a home, right? Shelter, food, and water, really. Those are the only things we need. Everything else is a bonus. But because we live in a materialistic, demanding world, we require all of these material things. Therefore, we have to work so hard in order to gain all of these material things. But in a realistic, real world, the way that it should be at its root is that the first thing we should be taught is how to build our own home, a log cabin home, to build our own home, and to grow our own food, and to harvest our own land, okay? Everything else is a bonus. You might need clothing, you might need those things. You can work for those things. We don't need all of this shit, okay? We don't need to live in apartments that are $1,200 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. We don't need, but we do. Because why? Because we live in a materialistic, demanding world. We live in a material world. Therefore, we need the material finance to gain the material objects that civilization requires to function, because we live within civilization. Wow. So what if we figured out a new way to live outside of this man-made establishment? What if we could provide for ourselves, work less and gain more, and still be more happy? This will not work for everybody, because most people are material. They desire material things. Their goals and internal desires are material. They want this nice sweater. They want a nice big TV for their nice apartment that they have to pay $1,200 a month for nothing, and make somebody else rich, The only reason we have to work like a slave is to acquire material things, because we live in a material world. But if we didn't live in a material world, we wouldn't have to work materialistically to gain material things. Because in all true core reality, all we truly need is a home, water, and food. And these things do not cost any money. They don't. That is an illusion. That's like me ripping the grass out of the ground that grows freely, that you could just get yourself. Me walking up to you and going to sell that to you, and you saying, why would I do that when I could just get my own off of the lot? Well, actually, I just conquered that piece of land. I own that land now. You can't touch that. That's mine now. And I'm going to sell it to you now. And if you take from that land or try to live on that land freely I will incriminate you, criminalize you, and put you in prison, and call you a criminal and ruin your credibility in this material establishment. Wow. So, in all reality, we are willing slaves. We are slaves by choice. Material slaves. You don't realize that. You think you need all of these material things, and this is what enslaves you. And this is what enslaves you to the material world. You know? In all reality. So if we were to learn how to build our own homes, harvest our own land and grow our own food, produce our own ecosystem, those are the main essentials right there. Those are the biggest expenses that are devastating our lives and consuming and taking over our lives and making it not possible to thrive or prosper fully, keeping us suppressed, oppressed by design. Okay, and we've inherited this belief. We've allowed this to manifest into our reality. How is that possible? I don't know. But next thing you know, they'll be selling oxygen to us, telling us there's not enough of it and it belongs to them, and they will distribute it equally throughout civilization. Wow. All we really had to do was continue to grow trees and produce more oxygen for the planet. Instead of take from it, we could give back to it, and it would give us more in abundance, and we wouldn't have to be in a state of scarcity. Do you understand? There's no debate. This is the true reality that is so hard to comprehend. And it really took me this long in my life to actually hit that level of clarity and have that epiphany. And then detach myself from material things so I don't have to be trapped and enslaved to a material world, unhappy, unsatisfied, not living my fullest potential, but allowing someone else to live up to their fullest potential because they had a broader perspective and they seen the bigger picture. When I was just thinking about the 9 to 5, and this individual was thinking, I'm going to build an empire and have an army of people work for me and build my dreams. Why? Because they willingly agree to that. They willingly believe that that is the only way and that is the way, and anyone else that does not go that way is a piece of shit. Bum. Get a fucking job. Imagine that. I guarantee you that any fucking millionaire and billionaire that you talk to won't say that. I bet you they never did say that. I bet you they were never that guy to say, get a fucking job. Actually, they were saying, start a fucking business. Nobody listened though. You know why? Because all your money goes to rent. Yeah. And then you can't fucking live. Because you think you need this material thing. But in this realm you do, because you live in a material world. But if you were to remove yourself from that material world, you would no longer require and depend on materialistic things, freeing yourself from all pain that is inflicted on yourself. Because what is our biggest pain in life? Struggling, getting by financially. Why is that? How the fuck is that possible? When everything comes from the earth. All these buildings and shit that you see, all the bricks, all the houses, everything that you see that is not the earth, the dirt, came from the planet. Every single material that built everything in front of you was free. It came from the planet. It grew in abundance, developed from the planet. Therefore, we have access to all of these things. It does not belong to one man, one entity, one corporation, one force, one entity that does not exist. That is enslaved. That is slavery, because we're willingly agreeing to this thinking that, oh yeah, that's a good deal. But you're getting ripped off because you don't know what a good deal is. You don't know what real life is because we've been born into this. We didn't know nothing before this. And that's the issue. And that's where you are either conscious or you're not. It's either you're awoke or you're asleep. And when you wake up, these things start to make perfect sense rather than all of these things make sense. Once you wake up, you start to look around and realize that you're in the opposite of what makes sense. And you wonder, how the fuck did I get here? Well, we were born into this, and then we were taught and forced, and told that this was the right way of thinking, being, living, And I'm not saying to not work. I'm saying to work for yourself. I just watched maybe like 36 bushcraft videos of how to build a log cabin home by yourself. And I watched a man in 6 months build a beautiful log cabin home. He spent about $300 of his own cash. He used the forest around him and he built the most beautiful, there's no words to describe how beautiful this home was. And he did this by himself. You can watch the entire video, it's a lapse, right? Like you get to see the whole process of just him literally by himself building this log cabin home. And it's really not that difficult. It's really not. It is difficult to build a fucking house, a man-made house that has man-made rules and regulations that really don't exist. Those things are just there to complicate things and make us have to rely more on its system and its way of being because we're told that that is the right way, the correct way. So we live in fear like, oh, if we don't get a real house contractor to build a blueprint to build our house and we have to spend $600,000, we can't live. But I'll even leave the links to some of these videos of people building their own home. Bro, this guy wasn't jacked. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting there looking. Bro, it is literally a matter of just doing it. But because that's so far out of our reality grasp and so outside of our comfort zone, and it does not seem realistic to us because of how we've inherited this system and this machine as ours, thinking that this is the right way of life, which it is not. We've settled for this. And this is why we're suppressed. But there is a way out. And coming from a kid from the fucking city that grew up in a big city, living all of the materialistic fucking things that you could possibly dream of. Bitches, money, bottles, gangster, all that fun, cool fucking shit you think is cool on the fucking movies. I had all that material shit. I had $1,000 genuine diamond fucking watch. I had $1,000 stack in my fucking pocket all the time. That was spending money, I always got gorgeous chicks. That was a flex. That was my thing. I got a fucking birthmark on my face and I still get hotter bitches than my friends that are tatted up and sleeved the fuck up. And they get mad, because I hold something that they don't hold. I possess something that they do not possess. I could be that guy. I could have kept going with my tats. I only got Steel City because that was to remind me of what I never want to fucking do or live ever again. It was the handcuffs that fucking bound me in this evil place, Steel City. City of hate. These are my thoughts right now. 14 minutes. I got like less than 4 minutes left. So what I just want to say is, we don't have to live like this. This is a choice. You can go ahead and say, well, easy for you to fucking say, well, you know what? I've done it all. I've been a working man. I've had the material things, a nice apartment, skylight, smoking blunts, blowing it at my sky. I had the women, I had the money. I felt like a man. I was prideful. I pay my own fucking rent. Yeah, dad, bitch. Yeah, all that prideful shit. That shit ain't cool no more. That was cool when I was 18. I felt like the shit. You know what I mean? I was a young king, you know, in my fucking throne, getting my money, flexing on motherfuckers that can't do what I can do. Then I grew up. Then I developed spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And God changed my heart, and He gave me the spirit. And then I woke up. And it's been a complete cycle of evolving since then, you know. So this is the conclusion, man. I had all the material things. There's nothing left to have, man. There's no reward. You're gonna be hurt and miserable and empty and unfulfilled for the rest of your life if you depend and rely on this material fucking world. It will never feed your soul. It will never land you where you truly want to be. So we have to detach ourselves from this. But not everybody will, because not everybody is meant for a holy life or a blessed life. This is Satan's world for now, and his people. And they choose and want and desire material things, like silver, you know, all of these material things that we think we need. You know, the fuck is this? What is this shit? This shit does not fucking exist, man. It's an illusion, bro. There's no fulfillment in this. And if there is for you, then you're a materialistic person. And you might admit that and say, yeah, I am. So what? So did I when I was too. That just means you haven't evolved yet. And you may never. Because not everybody is meant for the word, or to know God, or to know God's people, or to know a humble lifestyle. But my goal is to live off the land, build my own log cabin home, grow my own food, settle down and have my little family, and teach them how to do the same thing and harvest the land. Go out and retrieve good people and bring them back to the land and show them how to build and produce for themselves, so they don't have to rely on government or rely on the materialistic false dimension, false world that truly doesn't exist. And we only need these things because we believe we need material things. We live in a material world, but that is a choice. You know? So that's all I gotta say, man. Corey Resilient, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I'm slowly detaching myself from this fucking world. Peace.